Our project is about how social media and AI are rewriting democracy and how to stop it. Some introductory comments. The three empires of the internet are commonly considered to be the EU, China, and the US. We focus largely on the US, but policies may differ. We utilize the umbrella term of democracy to describe maintaining freedom of expression and speech, basic human rights, etc. Key problem. The key problem that we are examining is how large tech companies are threatening democracy through their monopolistic control of the public sphere. What makes social media so much worse than past communication infrastructures? Previous communication infrastructures belonged to the public sphere in one way or another. They were either directly publicly governed, such as the streets, highly regulated, such as phone companies, or subject to decentralization principles, such as traditional media. Current tech giants like Facebook are not publicly governed, regulated, or decentralized, but they are dramatically more powerful. Poor regulation and enormous influence lets private companies prioritize the advancement of corporate interests over the physical and mental well-being of their consumers. Google has been fined multiple times by the EU for offenses such as favoring their own services and products in search results and imposing unfair terms on companies that use their search bar on their websites. This exposes the fundamentally coercive nature of biased recommendation algorithms as they alter users' mindsets without them being aware or consenting to such change. Companies prey on users' lack of knowledge, as the majority are ignorant of what private companies do with their data. They also prey on emotional vulnerability, as based on the monopolistic nature of social media platforms, refusing to use them means that one will be completely out of the loop when it comes to the most relevant social information. Users' desire to stay socially involved and their ignorance about data allows for undemocratic manipulation. Manipulation includes targeted ads leading to misinformation going unnoticed, weaponized surveillance data causing conflict amongst targeted groups, algorithms that optimize engagement metrics favoring extremist opinions, and it also increases polarization.
So now let's move on to cause analysis. We have significant reason to believe that this is an existential risk. This is neglected because while there is widespread public awareness, most efforts are focused on surface-level regulation. For example, watermarking AI-generated images to prevent misinformation or spreading awareness on a user level. Very few approach this intrinsic problem of how companies are economically incentivized to poach as much user data as possible, and they have no reason to prioritize the user's best interests. The scale is obviously massive, with billions of hours spent each day on social media sites and no signs of slowing down. We believe that this problem is very tractable and solvable because all the current research and existing solutions point to using existing legislative infrastructure and technological tools. The only hard part would be lobbying against these huge companies because they have so much economic power that they could potentially fight this regulation. So our overall problem is that we believe that the current model of exchange, where consumer information is treated as a product between companies and third parties, is a significant existential risk as it threatens democracy. We think this is because algorithms are in a strange spot where they act as public goods, but they differ from actual public goods, where willingly paid taxes, fines, fees, or general ads allow users to maintain access. We believe this model is unsustainable, risky, and dangerous. As more and more personal data is demanded, any third party could use this information to target belief systems, and bad actors could get a hold of this data. So what are our solutions? Our first proposal is the fiduciary model. A fiduciary is a person or institution that is legally bound to prioritize their clients' interests. If we could get tech companies to act as information fiduciaries, then they could have to prioritize user best interests. This is, for now, just a thought experiment that will guide the rest of our proposal, because this model is not enough to correct this inherent structure imbalance between business models that are built on this pervasive surveillance. Instead, we have to re-engineer how these tech corporations, third-party advertisers, and users interact. We believe that revenue should be negotiated directly between users and platforms. This would be based on fees, like a one-time purchase, or subscription-based model. This would cause tech companies to act like utility companies with water and electricity, where they meter their services. And if they choose not to pay with fiat currency, then users would trade a certain amount of data for the value of whatever the service is. Because this price is predetermined, the user now has security in knowing exactly how much data is used.
While our first two solutions go a long way to mitigating the harms caused to democracy, the conflict between the fundamental incentive of these two parties remain. Instead, we need a new model, one that separates the recommender algorithms and data collections from the platforms in which they reside. We will call these intermediary recommender algorithms IRAs. IRAs must be true information fiduciaries. There will be a system of mutual incentives. For example, the IRAs are going to ensure quality content by the platforms because they want to continue receiving data and money from the users. The companies want data, so they will cooperate with the IRAs and provide quality service so that they will receive more data. With that data, they can gain money from targeted advertising on the platform, although this will be very limited and contextual for the user. Of course, the users want the most effective, accurate, and entertaining IRAs that will nonetheless prioritize their interests, therefore creating an open market. This allows recommendations to be aspirational, rather than trapping individuals and humanity in a prison of their own design based on implicit data. There will also be a system of mutual trust, understanding, and transparency between all the involved parties. This shows that a targeted ad-based revenue model can be both ethical and economically sustainable. Here's our theory of change that sums up the solutions we have proposed thus far. Of course, actual implementation will be difficult. For example, the lobbying system in the US means lawmakers will have to ignore all corporate influence to implement these changes, as naturally no tech company would want to see such a radical shift in their operations. Furthermore, the polarized nature of American politics means that bipartisan support for any policy will be difficult to attain, ironically due to the very same factors that our policies are trying to eradicate. Although the path forward is rocky at best, it is still vital to have these feasible solutions developed so that when the time comes, institutions will be armed by the tools to take direct action. Thank you.